Geography Class 12 Notes. Chapter 1 Human Geography. Nature of Human Geography. Times Human Geography studies the interrelationship between the physical environment and socio-cultural environment created by human beings through mutual interaction with each other. Times the elements like villages, cities, road rail networks, etc. and all other elements of material culture have been created by human beings using the resources provided by the physical environment. Thus, in the saying of Ellen Semple, human geography is a study of changing relationship between unresting man and unstable earth. Naturalization of humans and humanization of nature. Times humans interact with their physical environment with the help of technology. This indicates the level of cultural development. Times the interaction of primitive societies with the physical environment is termed as environmental determinism, which is naturalization of humans. Times with the development of technology, humans began to modify nature and created cultural landscape. This is called possibilism or humanization of nature. Times a middle path of neo-determinism was introduced by Griffith Taylor, which means that neither is there a situation of absolute necessity, environmental determinism, nor is there a condition of absolute freedom, possibilism. History of human geography. Times the emergence of human geography started with the interaction, adaptation, adjustment and modification between the humans and the environment. Times before the age of discovery, there was very little interaction between different societies, but in the late 15th century information about the unknown societies were made available now. Exploration by travelers expanded the area of human geography and interacted with different societies. Times with this, new approaches can across like welfare or humanistic school of thought, radical school of thought and behavioral school of thought. Field and subfields of human geography. Times human geography is interdisciplinary in nature and develops vast linkages with other sister disciplines in social sciences. Times the fields and subfields of human geography explains every aspect of all elements of human life on the surface of the earth. Chapter to the world population. Patterns of population distribution. Times population distribution means arrangement distribution of people over the Earth's surface. Population is not evenly distributed as 90% of the world's population lives in about 10% of its land area. Times the 10 most populous countries of the world contribute about 60% of the world's population. Out of these 10 countries, 6 are located in Asia. Density of population. Times this means the ratio between the number of people to the size of the land. It is usually measured in persons per sq kilometer density of population area. Some areas are densely populated like northeastern USA, northwestern Europe, South, Southwest and East Asia. Times some areas are sparsely populated like near the polar areas and high rainfall zones near the equator, while some areas have medium density like western China, southern India, Norway, Sweden, etc. Factors influencing population distribution. The population distribution is influenced by 3 factors, i.e., geographical factors, economic factors and social and cultural factors. Geographical factors. Environmental or natural factors such as landforms, fertile soil, suitable climate for cultivation and availability of adequate source of fresh water are the geographical factors that affect the population distribution. Some geographical factors are land forms flat plains, and gentle slopes are preferred by people because these are favorable for the production of crops and to build roads and industries. Climate area with less seasonal variation attract more people. Soil area which have fertile loamy soil have more people living on them as these can support intensive agriculture. Water people prefer to live in areas where fresh water is easily available because it is the most important factor for life. Economic factors. Places having employment opportunities like mineral-rich areas, industrial units and urban centers have high concentration of population. Some economic factors are industrialization. Industries provide job opportunities and attract large numbers of people. Minerals deposits attract industries. Mining and industrial activities generate employment. Urbanization, good civic amenities, and the attention of city life draw people to the cities. Social and cultural factors. Places having religious importance and cultural significance are also very densely populated areas. Population growth. This refers to the change in number of inhabitants of a territory during a specific period of time. When change in population is expressed in percentage, then it is called growth rate of population. When there is an increase in population by taking the difference between births and deaths, then it is called natural growth of population. There is also positive growth of population which happens when birth rate is more than death rate and negative growth of population when birth rate is lower than death rate. Components of population change. There are three components of population change, i.e., births, deaths and migration. Crude birth rate, CBR. Number of births in a year per thousand of population is expressed as crude birth rate, CBR. Crude death rate, CDR. Number of deaths in a year per thousand of population is expressed as crude death rate, CDR. Migration. It is movement of people across region on permanent, temporary or seasonal basis. The place they move is called place of origin and the place they move to is called place of destination. Push and pull factors of migration. The push factors make the place of origin seem less attractive for reasons like unemployment, poor living conditions, political turmoil, unpleasant climate, natural disasters, epidemics, and socio-economic backwardness. The pull factors make the place of destination seem more attractive than the place of origin for reasons like better job opportunities and living condition, ease and stability, security of life and property and pleasant climate. Trends in population growth. Times trends show that initially growth of population was very slow, but after the improvement in science and technology, there had been tremendous growth in population which is called population explosion. Times about 8,000 to 12,000 years ago world population was 8 million and now it has reached to 7 billion. Times in every 12 years, 1 billion people are added. Increased agriculture and industrial production, inoculation against epidemics, improvement in medical facilities have reduced death rates. Doubling time of world population. Times developed countries are taking more time to double their population as compared to developing countries. Times Oman, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Liberia, Yemen have high population growth rates while Latvia, Estonia, Russia, Germany, etc. have low growth rates. Spatial pattern of population change. Times the world population growth rate is 1.4%, It is highest in Africa I 2.6% and lowest in Europe I 0% means neither grow nor decline. Times so even when a small annual rate is applied to very large population, it will lead to a large population change. There is negative correlation between economic development and population growth. Impact of population change. High increase in population leads to problems like depletion of natural resources, unemployment and scarcity. Decline in population indicates that resources are insufficient to maintain a population. Demographic transition theory. This theory studies the changes in the population of a region as it moves from high births and high deaths to low births and low deaths. This happens when a society progresses from rural agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate. There are three-staged model of demographic transition theory. They are: first stage. This stage is marked by high fertility, high mortality rate because people reproduce more to compensate for the deaths due to epidemics and variable food supply. People are poor, illiterate and mostly engaged in agriculture. Life expectancy is low and population growth is slow. Second stage. Level of technology increases and other facilities like medical, health, sanitation improves due to which the death rate reduces. But the fertility rate and birth rate remains high due to which there is huge rise in population. Population expands rapidly as there is wide gap between birth and death rate. Third stage. The birth and death rate both reduces and the population moves towards stability. People become literate, urbanized and control the size of the family. There is good judicious use of technology also. Population control measures. Family planning is the spacing and preventing the birth of children. Thomas Malthus theory, 1793, states that the number of people would grow faster than the food supply, thus leading to famine, diseases and war. Therefore, it is essential to control the population. This is undertaken through measures like awareness for family planning, free availability of contraceptives, tax disincentives, and active propaganda. Chapter 3: Population Composition. Sex composition. Sex composition refers to the number of men and women in a country. It is taken out as a sex ratio, which is the ratio between the number of men and women. Sex ratio in the world is 990 females per 1000 males, with highest in Latvia, 1187 females per 1000 males, and lowest in UAE, 468 females per 1000 males. The sex ratio is unfavorable in 72 countries of the world as there is gender discrimination leading to female feticide, female infanticide as well as low economic status of women. In general, Asian countries like China, India have low sex ratio while European countries have higher sex ratio. Age structure. The age structure of a population refers to the number of people of different age groups. It is divided into three groups, i.e. children, 0 to 14 years, adult or working population, 15 to 59 years, and old or aging population, 60 years and above. Age-sex pyramid. The age-sex pyramid refers to the number of females and males in different age groups. The characteristic of a population is shown by population pyramid. The pyramid is interpreted in the following ways: expanding population. A triangular pyramid with a wide base due to high birth rate is mostly in less developed countries like Nigeria, Mexico and Bangladesh. Constant population. A bell-shaped pyramid and tapered towards the top shows almost equal birth and death rates like in Australia. Declining population. A pyramid with narrow base and top with a wider central part shows low birth and death rates. This is in developed countries like Japan. Rural-urban composition. The division of rural and urban areas based on residence indicates the pattern of occupations and social conditions. People are predominantly engaged in primary activities in rural areas, while in urban areas majority of working population is engaged in non-primary activities. In developed countries like Canada, West European countries, females outnumber males in urban areas, while in developing countries like Nepal and Pakistan, it is vice versa. Literacy. Level of literate population of a country indicates the standard of living, social status of females, availability of educational facilities. In India, literacy rate is the percentage of population above 7 years who are able to read, write and do arithmetic calculations. Occupational structure. This is proportional distribution of working population, age group 15 to 59, in various occupations. Agriculture, forestry, fishing and mining are classified under primary activities. Manufacturing as secondary activity, transport, communication and other services as tertiary, and jobs related to research and developing ideas are quaternary activities. In developed economics, more number of people are engaged in secondary, tertiary and quaternary sector than primary. Chapter 4: Human Development. Growth and Development. Growth and development refers to changes over a period of time, but the difference between growth and development is that growth is quantitative but development is qualitative. Therefore, development is always positive. Development cannot take place unless there is an increment or addition to the existing conditions, but growth can be positive, negative or neutral. Positive growth does not always lead to development. Development occurs when there is a positive change in qualities. Earlier, economic growth and development of country was seen as one, but now they are studied separately. Human development. This concept was introduced by Dr. Mababul Haq in 1990. Human development is described as that which enlarges people's choices and improves their lives, thus creating conditions where people can lead meaningful lives. This means that people develop talent, participate in society and be free to achieve their goals. According to Professor Amartya Sen, the main objective of development is an increase in freedom. Freedom to make choices brings development, and social and political institutions play a major role in increasing freedom. Building people capabilities in health, education and equal access to resources increases freedom and enlarges choices. 4 pillars of human development. The idea of human development is supported by the concepts of the following 4 pillars of development. Equity. It refers to equal access to opportunities available to everybody irrespective to their gender, race, income and caste. Sustainability. It means continuity in the availability of opportunities so that future generations can even use the present resources. Productivity. It means human labor which must be enriched by building capabilities in people. Empowerment. It means having the power to make choices, which is possible by increasing freedom and capability. Approaches to human development. There are four ways of looking at or approach the problems of human development. Some of the important approaches are income approach. This approach links the development to incomes as it believes that income determines the level of freedom that one enjoys. Welfare approach. Under this approach, government is responsible for providing basic facilities like health, education and amenities to people. Basic needs approach. In this approach, emphasis is on providing 6 basic needs, i.e. health, education, food, water supply, sanitation and housing. Capability approach. This approach is associated with Professor Amartya Sen and aims to build human capabilities in health, education and access to resources in order to increase human development. Measuring human development. Following are the ways of measuring human development. Human Development Index. Times human development is measured through Human Development Index, HDI, which ranks the countries between 0 to 1 based on their performance in the key areas of health, education and access to resources. Times it is the sum total of the weights assigned to health, education and access to resources. Indicator to access health is life expectancy at birth. To access knowledge it is adult literacy rate and gross enrollment ratio, and resources are measured in terms of purchasing power. Human Poverty Index. This index measures the shortfall in human development. The index is based on the probability of not surviving till 40, adult literacy rate, people not having access to clean drinking water and number of underweight children. United Nations Development Programme. The United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, since 1990, publishes the Human Development Report by measuring the Human Development Index and Human Poverty Index. Gross National Happiness. This is Gross National Happiness, GNH, which is another measure of accessing human development, and Bhutan is the only country in the world to measure the country's progress through GNH. The GNH encourages the qualitative aspect of development. International comparisons. Times on comparing the human development of different countries, it is revealed that the size of the territory and per capita income are not directly related to human development. Times for comparisons. The countries are classified into 4 groups on the basis of human development scores earned by them. Very high level of human development. Times the countries scoring above 0.802 are categorized under it. There are 49 countries in this group. Times top 10 countries with very high value index are Norway, Australia, Netherlands, United States, New Zealand, Canada, Ireland, Liechtenstein, Germany and Sweden. Times the countries in this group provide education and health care, which is an important government priority, as well as invest a lot in the social sector. High level of human development. Times countries scoring between 0.702 and 0.801 are grouped under it. They are 56 in number. Times good governance and lot of investment in social sector has led to high level of human development in these countries. Medium level of human development. Times countries scoring between 0.555 and 0.701 are grouped under it, and there are 39 countries in this group. Times many of these countries were former colonies and are facing political instability as well as high social diversity. Low level of human development. Times countries scoring below 0.554 are grouped under it, and there are 44 countries in it. These countries are going through political turmoil, social instability, civil war, famine or high incidence of diseases. Times internal comparisons reveal that the culture, religion or community are non-determinants of human development. Rather, pattern of government expenditure on the social sector, political environment, amount of freedom people have and the distribution of resources play a decisive role in the level of human development. Chapter 5 Primary Activities. Hunting and Gathering. Times hunting and gathering are the oldest primitive activities of man. Early man lived in forests and sustained his life by hunting animals. He has also been gathering various products from the forests to satisfy his needs in early days. Thus, early men sustained on edible plants which they hunted and edible plants which they gathered from the forests. Times early human beings practiced these activities with the help of primitive tools made of stones, twigs or arrows, so the number of animals killed was limited. But now modern equipments led to the widespread poaching of animals due to which hunting is declared illegal. Times gathering is practiced in high latitude zones OI North Canada, northern Eurasia and southern Chile, low latitude zones of Amazon Basin, tropical Africa, interiors of Southeast Asia. This activity requires small capital investment and low level of technology. Valuable plants, leaves, bark, etc. are collected and after simple processing they are sold in local markets. These products cannot compete the world market as synthetic products are lower in price and of better quality. Pastoralism. Times this means domestication and rearing of animals on pastures. This is carried either at subsistence level known as nomadic herding or at commercial level known as commercial livestock rearing. Nomadic herding. Times also called pastoral nomadism. It is a primitive activity where herders move with their livestock from one place to another in search of food and water. They rely on animals for food, clothing, shelter, tools and transport. Times depending on geographical factors, different animals are reared in different regions like cattle in tropical Africa, sheep, goat and camel in Sahara, Asiatic deserts, yak, llamas in Tibet and ants, reindeer in Arctic and subarctic areas. Other areas include Mongolia, Central China, Eurasia, South-West Africa and Madagascar. Commercial livestock rearing. Times this practice is associated with Western culture, it is more organized and capital intensive. This activity is done on vast ranches that are permanent. Times modern scientific technology with emphasis on breeding, genetic improvement, disease control and health care is done. Production of meat, wool, hides is done and exported to different world markets. Times sheep, CPTTL, goat and horses are reared in the ranches. Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Uruguay, Southwest Africa, Western United States and Central Asia are major centers of commercial livestock rearing. Agriculture is practiced under multiple combinations of physical and socio-economic conditions, which gives rise to different types of agriculture systems. Based on methods of farming, different types of crops are grown and livestock raised. The following are the main agricultural systems. Subsistence agriculture. In this type of agriculture, farmers consume all or nearly all of the produce as the size of the farm is very small. It can be divided into primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. Primitive subsistence agriculture. This is widely practiced in tropical areas of Africa, South, Central America and Southeast Asia. Different names are given to it in different places like Milpa, Juming, Ladang. It is also called slash and bum agriculture or shifting agriculture. Cultivation is done through primitive tools by clearing a patch of land. After 3 to 5 years, when the soil loses its fertility, then new land is cleared for cultivation. Intensive subsistence agriculture. This type of agriculture is practiced in densely populated regions of monsoon Asia. This type of cultivation is either dominated by wet paddy cultivation and crops other than paddy. The per unit area is high but productivity is low as land holdings are small due to high density of population, less use of machines, family labor involved and farmyard manures are used. Crops other than paddy are wheat, soybean, barley, sorghum grown in northern China, Manchuria, North Korea and Japan. In India, it is practiced in Indo-Gangetic plains, dry parts of western and southern India. Plantation agriculture. This type of agriculture was introduced by the Europeans like cocoa and coffee in West Africa by French, tea in India and Sri Lanka, rubber in Malaysia, sugarcane and banana in West Indies by British, coconut, sugarcane in Philippines by Spanish, etc. Here, agriculture is done on large estates or plantations, requires huge capital investment and scientific methods of cultivation. Extensive commercial grain cultivation. Times this is practiced in the interiors of semi-arid parts of mid-latitudes like Eurasian steppes, Canadian and American prairies, pampas of Argentina, velds of South Africa, Australian Downs and Canterbury Plains of New Zealand. Times crops like wheat, corn, barley, oats and rye are grown. Agriculture is mechanized as farms are very large. There is low yield per acre but high yield per person. Mixed farming. Times this is practiced in northwestern Europe, eastern North America, parts of Eurasia and temperate latitudes of southern continents. Here crop cultivation along with animal husbandry is practiced. Crops like wheat, barley, oats, rye, maize, fodder and root crops along with the rearing of farm animals like cattle, sheep, pig, poultry is done to provide extra income. Times there is crop rotation and intercropping along with high capital expenditure on farm inputs. Dairy farming. Times it is practiced near urban and industrial centers of northwestern Europe, Canada, southeastern Australia, New Zealand and Tasmania. It is highly capital intensive due to cost of feeding, milching machines, animal sheds, storage facilities, veterinary services, etc. Times it is also labor intensive as rigorous care of animals is also needed. There is no off-season during the year as in case of crop raising. Mediterranean agriculture. It is practiced on either side of Mediterranean in Europe, North Africa from Tunisia to Atlantic coast, Southern California, some parts of Chile, southwestern parts of South Africa and southwestern parts of Australia. It is highly specialized commercial agriculture and important supplier of citrus fruits. Viticulture. This refers to cultivation of grapes in the Mediterranean regions. Inferior grapes are made into raisins and currants while superior grapes are processed into wines. Figs and olives are also cultivated. Market gardening and horticulture. Times it is practiced in highly developed and industrial regions of Northwest Europe, Northeast United States and Mediterranean regions. Netherlands specializes in cultivation of tulip flowers. Times this type of cultivation refers to high-value crops like vegetables, fruits and flowers solely for urban markets. Farms are small and mechanized. It is both capital and labor-intensive. Truck farming. This refers to the specialization in the cultivation of vegetables only. The distance between the farms and urban markets can be covered through trucks overnight, hence its name is known as truck farming. Factory farming. This refers to livestock rearing, mainly poultry and cattle. This is capital intensive, requires maintenance, supervision and scientific breeding. It is practiced in industrial regions of Europe and North America. Cooperative farming. Under this farming, group of farmers form a cooperative society by pooling their resources voluntarily for more efficient and profitable farming. There is help from societies in buying and selling farm products. Individual farms remain intact. It is practiced in Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden and Italy. Collected farming. Times it is based on social ownership of the means of production and collective labor. Here farmers pool their resources, though they are allowed to keep a small part with themselves. Times produce is sold to state at prefixed prices. Members paid according to the nature of work done. It was practiced first in kolkhoz in erstwhile Soviet Union. Mining. It refers to the extraction of mineral resources from the earth. Its development began with the Industrial Revolution. Factors affecting mining activity. There are two factors that affect the mining activity. These are: 1. Physical factors related to size, grade and mode of occurrence of the deposits. 2. Economic factors related to demand for mineral, technology, capital to develop infrastructure, labor and transport cost. Methods of mining. It is of two types, i.e. surface and underground mining. Surface of open cast mining occurs close to the surface. It is easiest and cheapest. The other is underground mining, in which minerals are extracted from very deep mines using vertical shafts. It requires lifts, drills and very efficient technology. The developed economies are retreating from mining due to high labor cost, while developing economies are becoming major exporters of minerals due to their large labor force and striving for better standard of living.